For this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used 2.5 skeins of Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo in Grey Heather and a small amount of medium thyme. As for tools, a 5mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. We're using 5 stitches for this project and they will be as followed. Chain, slip stitch, single crochet, double crochet, alternative double crochet. This tutorial is for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this cardigan started, we're first going to grab our category 4 yarn, make a slip knot. We're going to grab our 5mm hook, and we're first going to start off by making a chain that comes out to the height that we want our bottom band to be. And just as a reference, I'm going to be making a chain of 2 inches. Now that we have our chain, we're going to go in with a row of double crochet. So we're going to block off that last chain that we made. We're going to do a chain up of 3 that counts as a double crochet. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, and then into that loop that we blocked off with our thumb or the 4th loop from our hook, we're going to go in with a double crochet. There's 1 double crochet. Let's do the next one a little bit more slowly. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook into that next loop that we have. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1. We should have 3 loops on the hook. When we have that, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our double crochet. And we're going to put 1 double crochet into every loop going back down our chain. We've put 1 double crochet into every loop that we had going back down our chain. Now we're going to be going in with rows of back loop double crochets, and that's going to be the majority of this portion of our bottom band. So that's going to be fairly simple. All we're going to do anytime we get to the end, we're going to do a chain up of 3 that counts as a double crochet. We're going to flip our work. We're going to prepare for a double crochet and then insert our hook in through this first loop that we have, but making sure that we only go in through the back loop. So insert in through this back loop that we have. From here, we're going to do a double crochet like normal. So we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do just 1 more together. Prepare for a double crochet, and then into this next back loop, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's basically it. We're going to keep doing this until we have the length of the bottom band that we want. And this portion is going to go from the opening of the cardigan all the way to the side so that it can connect to the back. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I have a total of 7.5 inches or 19 centimeters. I now have the length that I want for my bottom band, and now we're going to work a little out of order than what we usually do, but we're actually going to be making what we're going to call, for video's sake, the side panel. But this is all the front panel that we're working on. We're actually just going to take a little bit from this bottom border that we just made, and we're going to make the side panel that goes all the way up to our shoulder, and then from there we're going to fill in this empty area. But now that we know that, what we're going to do is actually figure out how long we want this side panel to be. This is basically going to be the outer edge of the cardigan, so we're going to have to figure out how wide we want this to be. And all I did was took the length that I had right here and I just cut that in half. And for me, I'm actually just going to have 1 inch of this outer edge side panel since I had 2 inches right here. So all we're going to do is we're going to chain up 1, and we're going to be working into these side double crochets. And like I said, I want mine to be about 1 inch, so I'm going to be going into each side double crochet until I have 1 inch worth of single crochet. So that's just about 2 of these side double crochets. So what I'm going to do is put 1 single crochet into this first side double crochet. I'm going to go in with just 1 more. So it's 2 into this first side double crochet, and then into this next side double crochet, I'm going to be putting another 2. And this is just about as far as I'm going to go in for my side panel, but you guys can make this as thick or as thin as you guys want. But once we have that, what we're going to do is do a chain up of 3, and we're going to do the same pattern that we did for this bottom border. So we're going to flip our work, prepare for a double crochet, and we're going to go into this first back loop with a double crochet, just like that. And then we're going to keep doing this all the way down. Once we reach the end, we are going to chain up 3, flip our work, and go back down doing back loop double crochets. And we're going to keep doing this until this chunk reaches all the way up to our shoulder. And I'll meet you guys back when I have this done, and I will tell you guys the measurement that I have when it's all finished. So this is what I have when I have my side panel that goes all the way up to our shoulder. I don't really know quite how to show you guys this because it's kind of long, but this is the bottom band that we just did. And then if we follow this all the way up, these are all only back loop double crochets all the way up to where I ended. There's two things I got to tell you. I have a total of 28 inches or about 71 centimeters coming from this first single crochet row all the way up to where my hook is. And then the second thing I have to tell you is actually that once we are done, once we have a length that we want, our last double crochet is actually going to have to end on the inside. And by the inside, I mean the side that is on the side of our bottom band that we just made. So if you guys follow this, we're just going to fold it like this so you guys know that it's on this side. Our hook needs to end on this side because what we're going to do next is just go in with a row of single crochet going all the way down, and then it needs to meet this bottom band that we just did. So if yours ended on this side, go ahead and either take away a row or add a row, whatever you guys need to do. But once we have that, we can go in with our row of single crochet. So our single crochet row is going to be fairly easy. All we're going to do when we are on the right side, we're going to chain up one, and then into each of these side double crochets, we're just going to go in with 2 single crochets, just like how we did before. So into this first side double crochet, here is 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet. Let's do one more together. Next side double crochet, here's 1 single crochet, and then here's 2. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down until we meet our bottom band. And then we're going to connect with a slip stitch and then cut and tie, but I'll show you guys what loops to get into when we get there. We've made our way all the way down to our base, and what we're going to do is we have just one more loop for this very first single crochet row that we did. So into any one of these gaps, into the single crochet row, we're just going to go in with 1 single crochet, and then once we get here, we're going to slip stitch into the base. And into the base, we really can go into anything, but I prefer to go into this loop that we have right here. As you guys can see, it's a little loop in between these 2 side double crochet rows. I'm just going to insert my hook into there with a slip stitch. So I'm just going to yarn over, pull through everything on the hook, chain up 1 and cut. And now we're just going to do a little accent color row going along the base. So this next part is going to be fairly simple. We're done working into this long portion that we just made for ourselves. We're now going to be going into the top layer of the base that we have. I will be switching out my color to my accent color, as you guys can see. But once we have all that ready, we're going to take our same hook, and then we're first going to insert our hook in through the very last single crochet that we did along the length of our side panel that we have. So into this last loop, we're going to insert our hook, take our yarn, insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, and then once when we have this, we're going to be working along these side double crochets that we have along the base. So this is going to be exactly the same that we've done this way. We're just going to be putting 2 single crochet into each side double crochet. So really quickly, this is our first side double crochet. We're just going to do this one together. We're going to put 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochet into that side double crochet. Once we have that, we're going to keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, we are going to cut and tie and then move back to our base color. My base color is this gray, and then we have a little bit more ribbing to do, and then we will get to getting on with the rest. We've just finished up going in with our little accent color along the base, and now we're going to do a different type of ribbing just along this chunk going straight across, and then we'll get to starting on the body portion right after that. But for this next portion, we get to decide on how thick we want this, I guess we're going to call it our second bottom border to be. As you can see, this is our first one. We're working on our second bottom border. You guys get to figure out how big you want this to be. I actually want this just a hair bigger than my original bottom border. So I went ahead and went in from this corner that I have, and I measured up, and I actually wanted this to be about 2.5 inches or 6 centimeters, and I went ahead and put in my stitch marker into that loop. And now that we have that measurement, we're going to go in with a row of back loop single crochets. So we're going to insert our hook into where we have our stitch marker, but we're going to be going into that back loop right over here. We can take our stitch marker out, I'm going to insert my base color back onto my hook, pull through, chain up 1 to secure, and then this is going to be just like the back loop double crochets, but with single crochets instead. So into this first available back loop that we have, we're going to insert our hook, and then we're just going to single crochet. And we're going to have a different type of ribbing for this section, but that's all a part of the fun. So into this next back loop, insert our hook, single crochet, and we're just going to continue doing back loop single crochets down until we meet our base, or where the base color is, and then I'll show you guys how to attach it and then move on from there. We've just done our back loop single crochets all the way until we got to our base, and what we're going to do is slip stitch into this base loop that we have, and it's basically just going to be the first available loop that we have that goes along our bottom border, our first bottom border. But once we have this, we're going to take a look at this first loop, insert our hook into that loop, and we're going to go in with a slip stitch. So we're just going to yarn over and pull through everything on the hook. And that's how we attach this first row to the base. And then we're ready to start up the next row, and all we have to do for that is slip stitch into the next loop. Just like that. We're going to flip our work and continue doing back loop single crochets. So once we have that, we're going to go into this back loop with a single crochet, and we're going to keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, we're going to chain up 1, flip our work, do more back loop single crochets until we get to the base, and then we're going to slip stitch into the base to close off that row, slip stitch up into the next available loop to start up the next row, and then keep going back and forth just like that until we don't have any more loops left into this section. Now, this is what we should have once when we have gone all the way down with our back loop single crochets, and now we can start working on the body portion. And what we're going to do from here is go in along the top with a row of single crochets, just going straight across so that we can do our next stitch. So I have cut and tied, you guys didn't have to, but I'm just going to insert my hook into this corner, and then if you guys obviously ended down here, you guys would have to cut and tie and reattach your hook into this corner as well. Doesn't matter, just as long as you guys start up here, we should be good. Once we get here, we're going to chain up 1, and then there's not going to be any real loops for us to go into because these are side single crochet rows, so we're just going to have to try and eyeball it and find one, and then just go in with 1 single crochet into every loop. And like I always say, try not to put too many in one section, otherwise it'll bunch up. But a really quick tip, if you guys want to make sure that everything is going to be even, you guys can actually count out and see how many loops we have in our accent color down here, and then keep that in mind while we're doing this single crochet row up here, and make sure that it equals out so that this panel can go straight up with no issues. But once we've made it all the way to the end, we're going to connect with a slip stitch, and then I'll show you guys what to do from there. We've gone all the way down with our row of single crochet, and what we're going to do from here is insert our hook into this next available loop that we have into the side panel with a slip stitch. And you guys already know how to do that, so we're just going to insert our hook into that next available loop, yarn over, pull through everything. Now that we've slip stitched into the side panel, we're actually going to be going in with something new, but it is the alternative double crochet. So to start off this row, this is going to be the same anytime that we are on the side that has this side panel. We're going to be slip stitching up the next 2 loops. So there is 1 and there's 2. Once we have that, we're going to flip our work, and then we're going to start with our alternative double crochet. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet. We're going to insert our hook into this first available loop that we have, going in through both loops. It's not a front or back loop thing. We're going to insert our hook in through both loops. We're going to yarn over, pull through, and then this is going to be where this portion is just a little bit different. We're going to yarn over and pull through just that first loop that we have on the hook. Pull through that 1. We should have 3 loops on the hook, and then once we have that, we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3 that's on our hook. So it's kind of like a single crochet and then a half double-ish, or a chain and then a half double, but let's do the next couple together because this can be a little confusing. We're going to prepare for a alternative double crochet or just double crochet. We're going to insert our hook into this next available loop. We're going to yarn over and then pull through. We should have 3 loops on the hook. Once we have that, we're going to yarn over, pull through just the first loop that's on the hook, and we should still have 3 loops on the hook. Once we have that, we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And those are our first 2. We're going to do one more together, and then I'll let you guys have out the rest of this row, and then we'll do a couple more together for the next row. But let's do the next one together. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, insert into the next available loop, yarn over, pull through. We should have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through just 1 loop. We should have still 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. And we're doing it this way just so that we have a little bit of a different texture than we've ever had before, but also so that it gives this cardigan a little something, because we do have a decent amount of ribbing on this guy already. But go ahead and keep doing that all the way down this row, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can start up the next row and then do just a couple more together so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. We're now at the end of our first alternative double crochet row, and we're just going to do the first few alternative double crochets into this next row together. And it's basically going to be the same way that we start up any other double crochet row. We're going to do a chain up of 3, that counts as a double crochet. We're going to flip our work, prepare for a double crochet. We're going to insert our hook into this first available loop with another alternative double crochet. So we've inserted our hook already. We're going to yarn over, pull through. We should have 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through just 1 loop. You should still have 3. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, just like that. And we're going to continue doing this all the way down until we reach our side panel, and then we're going to connect with a slip stitch, and we'll do that together. But we're actually going to keep doing this until we reach the area that we want to have our pockets. If you guys don't want pockets, then you guys can skip this section, but I'll talk to you guys about that when we reach the side panel so that we can slip stitch into there, and then we'll talk about the rest of this. We are now all finished up with our second alternative double crochet row, and I'm just going to show you guys how to connect it into the side panel just one more time. But it's super simple. We're just going to take a look at the next 2 available loops that we have. We're going to count up 1, count up 2 into that second loop. We're going to insert our hook with a slip stitch, and then we're going to work our way up to the next row just one more time. Into the next 2 available loops, we're going to slip stitch 1, and then into the next loop, slip stitch 2. That's how we start off our next row. Flip our work, and then go into that first loop that we have with our alternative double crochet. And we're going to keep doing rows of this solid alternative double crochet until we are ready to insert our pockets. And I'm just going to show you guys really quickly. The place where we want to insert our pockets, we are going to take this bottom band, our 2 bottom bands, into account, because our pocket will fold, or it will sit right behind those 2. So going from this bottom band that I have all the way up until where I want my pockets, I'm going to have a total of about 7.5 inches or 19 centimeters. And then I will show you guys how to just leave the slit, and then we'll start working on the rest of it from there. But yeah, that's basically it. And go ahead and just keep doing that so that we can get to moving on. This is what we should have so far once we have gone in with our rows of alternative double crochet. And like I said, just to show you guys, from this top layer that we have all the way down to the bottom, I have a total of 7.5 inches or 19 centimeters. And you guys are going to want to make sure that whatever you guys want to fit in here, aka your phone, keys, whatever else you guys have, it is wide enough and also deep enough for whatever you guys want to put in. And just to show you guys my phone, because the pocket will go from here all the way down, and it's going to trace my phone. So this is perfect for what I needed to do. And once we have that, you guys can go ahead and put in where you want your pocket to be. I have my stitch markers in, and from one stitch marker all the way down to the next one, I have a total of about 4 inches or 10 centimeters. And yeah, once we have that, we can go ahead and cut and tie, and then we're just going to go across where we have our stitch markers with a chain, and then from there we're going to keep going back and forth with our alternative double crochet rows. Oh, and then one more last really quick tip. If you guys want, as you guys can see, my pocket is actually a little off center. It's a little bit more towards this side panel that we have, but that's just so that it's not so close to the sides of the cardigan. I want this to be a little bit closer to me. So you guys can do whatever you guys want with that information. But from here, I'm just going to chain up 1 and cut, and then we'll go in with a chain together. Going in with our pockets is going to be super duper easy. We're just going to count and see however many loops that we have in between our stitch markers, and then make that same amount of chains going from one stitch marker to the next. So I'm just going to insert my hook into any one of these loops that has the stitch marker in it. Going to insert our yarn, pull through, and then we're just going to do a little bit of counting for mine. Yours may be a little bit different. Please keep that in mind. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 chains, and then I'm going to insert my hook into this one with a slip stitch, so we're not going to count that guy. So I'm going to go ahead and make a chain of 12. Now that we have our chain, what we're going to do from here is insert our hook into where this next stitch marker is with a slip stitch. So we're going to insert, pull this guy through, we're going to yarn over and pull through everything on our hook, chain up 1 and cut, and now we can get started with doing our alternative double crochets again. And the only tip that I have for you guys when getting started with our alternative double crochets is wherever we ended on the previous row. As you guys can see, we ended here. We're just going to continue going from that section. So since I'm over here, I'm going to do my chain up of 3. We'll attach my yarn, chain up 3, and then work our way back down this way so that we can kind of keep up with this pattern that this stitch naturally gives us. Or if you guys ended over here, you guys are going to do the slip stitch up the next 2 loops and then go all the way across. And then keep doing this until we get to where we want this to end, right underneath our underarm. And then once we get there, we're going to start decreasing until it gets up to our shoulder. But as of right now, this is going to be solid. And yeah, we're just going to keep doing that all the way down. And I'll meet you guys back to let you know what my measurements are and then what we're going to do right after that. And I'm unsure if I said it in the previous clip or not, but for this next row, we're obviously going to be going over the chain. That's going to be super simple. Just put 1 alternative double crochet into each of these chains and then just work everything the way it should be worked normally, nothing fancy. But now we will go forward with what we have to do, and then I'll meet you guys back. The last thing that we did together was the pockets, and then I told you guys to go all the way up until we wanted to start doing our sleeve. So right where we hit our underarm with our alternative double crochet, and that is what I have right here. And from this last row of alternative double crochet that we did all the way down to the bottom, all the way to the bottom of the band, I have a total of 18.5 inches or 47 centimeters. And then from here, we're just going to do some decreases into every other row until we get all the way up to the top of this chunk that we have. But I'll just show you guys how to decrease really quickly, and then I'll let you guys go ahead from there. Getting started on the decrease, we do need to end on the outside portion, which is right here. And what we're going to do from here is chain up 3. That counts as a double crochet. We are going to flip our work, and this is going to be an alternative double crochet version of a decrease. So what we're going to do is prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook into this first loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through, and we're going to insert our hook into the next available loop, yarn over, pull through, and then once we have this, we're going to yarn over, pull through just the first 2 loops that we have. From here, we should have 3 loops on our hook, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on our hook. And we're just going to be decreasing into these first 2 loops. So after this, we're going to go back in, putting 1 alternative double crochet into every loop that we have. We're going to connect to the base and then work our way back. And like I said, we're only going to be decreasing on the outside of every row. So go ahead and keep doing that all the way up until we get to this last portion to where we don't have any more loops left, and then we will go from there. We're working on our second row of decrease, and like I said, I left the last 3 loops, and so I'm just going to do these with you guys, but it's going to be the same exact way that we did the one in the previous row. So into the first 2 loops that we have, we're going to be doing another decrease. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, insert our hook in through the next loop, yarn over, pull through. Once we have this, we should have 4 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through only 2. We should have 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 3. And that is our decrease on this side. And then into this very last loop that we have, just go in with 1 more alternative double crochet. And that's it. Go ahead and keep doing this all the way down. Once we have this entire chunk finished, I'll meet you guys back. We now have our entire front panel all finished up, and this is what it should look like, including the decreased rows that we just did. And from one end all the way down to the next, I have a total of 28 inches or 71 centimeters, just to let you guys know. And we can go ahead and get started on the second one, but we're only going to be doing the first few rows that we did in this portion, because this back loop single crochet portion is going to be a little bit different since it's going to be mirrored on the other side. So from here, go ahead and do this bottom band. We're going to go in with the height of our cardigan, so this side panel that we have, our little detail color, and then stop right there, and then I'll meet you guys in the next clip so that we can do this portion together. So we have one of our side panels already done, and we have went ahead and did the first few rows of this other side panel. It is exactly the same as we did the first one. So a really quick run through is just we have our original bottom border, and then from there we did our, I guess, what do we call this? A side panel or a shoulder chunk, I guess, that goes all the way up to the shoulder. We came back down with a row of single crochet, we cut and tied, and then went in with our accent color going all the way down, and we have cut, and then we are now here. If we take a look at this finished section, we're now going to be working on this back loop single crochet portion right here, but this part is going to be different because if we keep on doing it the same way, then as you guys can see, this is going to be kind of complicated, but as you guys can see, this portion looks all clean right where our accent color is, but if we flip it over, it looks just a little bit messy, and we don't want to see any of this nonsense. So we're going to be doing the same thing that we did here, but on the opposite side. So since we started off over here and then we worked our way towards the inside, or towards the side of where our cardigan is, we're going to be doing the opposite. So instead of starting on this side, we're going to start over here and then work our way in so that this side is clean. So on this second panel, we're going to want to figure out how many loops we counted up in our first panel. I just put that away, but how many loops we counted up in our first panel in order to make this second base that we have. And then from there, we're going to make a chain, attach it to this side, and then go in with more back loop single crochets going all the way down. And then once we make it to the end, we are going to single crochet it together so that it attaches. But let's do all that together, and then everything else will be exactly the same. So really quickly, we're just going to count this stuff out together. You may have a different number count than me, but that's totally fine. Just go with whatever number count you have. But as you guys can see, I've already put in my stitch marker, and coming from the bottom, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 loops so that it matches the other side. So I'm going to take my chain and start off by making a chain that is 10 loops. And 10, and then once we have that, we are going to take this base that we have, we're going to insert it into this corner loop that we have. We're going to yarn over, pull through everything on the hook, and then this is what we should have. It looks a little crazy, but it'll all work out. But once we have that, we're going to start off by slip stitching into this next available loop that we have. So we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through everything. Once we have that, we're going to flip our work, and now we can go in with our back loop single crochet row. But since this is our chain, this is just going to be a regular single crochet row. So into this first available loop, go in with a single crochet, just like that. And we're going to keep doing this, putting just one single crochet into every loop going down our chain. But once we make it to the end, we're going to chain up one, and then we will start doing our back loop single crochet rows. But I'll meet you guys back so that we can do just a little bit of that together. We have our first single crochet row going all the way down our chain, and we're going to go in with a row of back loop single crochets now. So what we're going to do is chain up one, flip our work, and this is going to be the same deal as the rest. Find this first back loop, go in with a single crochet. And we're going to keep doing that all the way down. Once we make it to the base, we're going to connect it the same way that we just did, and also the same way that we did on the other side, which is into the next available loop, slip stitch into that first loop to close off this row that we're currently working on. And then to work up to the next row, we're going to slip stitch up just one more loop. And we're going to keep doing that all the way down, and then I will meet you guys back once we don't have any more loops left to go into so that we can attach these two pieces together, and then we can get moving on with the rest of this cardigan. We've just finished up doing our rows of back loop single crochets, and now we're ready to connect it to our side panel that we have. But really quickly, right before we connect it, we're actually going to need to take a look and see our bottom row of our accent color, and we're going to need to figure out which one is our ugly side or the back side. And as you guys can take a look, you guys can probably guess that this is the prettier side, but just to show you guys, if we flip it over, you can see that everything's just kind of messy, thrown together up in there. This is the back side. So the way that we're going to connect it, we're going to make sure that the back side is facing outward like this, and then we can go in with our row of single crochet, and then once we flip it right side out, this will be on the inside, and so will our seam that we're about to go in with. But once we have that, we're going to take a look at the loop that we need to go into, and this is going to be the same whether if you guys ended down here or up here like me. We're just going to be doing outside loop single crochets until we can't go anymore. So I counted up however many loops I had over here, and then also the same over here, and put in a stitch marker. If you guys ended at the bottom, you guys obviously don't have to do that because you guys ended the easy way. But now that we have that, all we're going to do is into where this stitch marker is in, we're going to be going into that back loop. So here are the two loops that we usually go into. We're just going to insert our hook in through that back loop. We can take out this stitch marker if I can. And once we have that, we can yarn over and pull through everything. We're going to flip our work and then just go in with our row of outside loop single crochets. So the outside loop single crochets is fairly easy. What we're going to do is into the front panel, or the panel that's closest to us, we're going to be going in through the front loop of that, and then into the back panel we're going to be going in through the back loop, just like that. And we're just going to single crochet it together, and we're going to keep doing this all the way down until we can't connect anymore, or until we don't have any more loops. Then we're going to cut and tie and do the rest of this front panel. And this is what we should have when we have both of our panels all finished up. And once we have this, the next thing that we're going to do is work on the back. But the back is going to be fairly simple. We're first going to start off at the bottom. But in order to figure out how long we need to start off our bottom band, we're going to need to put these two chunks up to ourselves. It's going to be a little awkward because there's going to be nothing holding it up. But go ahead and try your best, and then from one end all the way around to the other end, we're going to grab that measurement, and we're going to start off by making these back loop double crochet border that we did along the bottom open up to that length. And I have a total of 18 inches or about 46 centimeters. So we'll just start this off together just to get you guys in the flow of things, and then we'll do the rest together. We are ready to get started on our back panel, and just to get started, we're going to make the same length that we have for this first bottom band that we have. So my first chunk right here was about 2 inches. So I'm going to start off by making a chain that comes out to that 2 inches. Once we have our chain, we are going to block off that last chain. Do a chain up of 3 because that counts as a double crochet. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, and we're going to insert our hook into that loop that we blocked off, or the second loop from our hook, with a regular double crochet. Then once we have that, we're going to be going all the way down our chain, putting 1 double crochet into every loop. And then we'll meet each other back to start our back loop double crochet rows, and then we'll have at it from there. First row of our double crochet bottom panel checked off. What we're going to do from here is chain up 3. This counts as a double crochet. Flip our work, prepare for a double crochet, then go into that first back loop with a regular double crochet. So there's 1, and continue going into every back loop with just 1 double crochet. Once we make it to the end, we are going to chain up 3, flip our work, and then do more rows of back loop double crochets until this reaches the length that we need. And like I said, maybe a clip ago, 2 clips ago, I'm going to keep going until I have a total of 18 inches or 46 centimeters. We're now all finished up doing our rows of back loop double crochets, and this is the length of the back of the cardigan that we're going to have. And for the next few rows, it's actually going to be exactly the same as the bottom of our front panel. So we just did this portion. We're next going to go in with our accent color, and then the row after that is going to be our back loop single crochet rows going all the way across. So I'm sure you guys don't quite need me to do this with you guys, so I'm just going to go in with my accent color and then go in with my back loop single crochet rows, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can do up the rest together. We just got finished up doing our bottom border section for our back piece, and just a really quick run through is our back loop double crochets, our row of accent color, and then back loop single crochets. And we're now ready to get started on the rest of the cardigan, and as you guys have probably guessed, it is going to be more rows of alternative double crochet. So what we're going to do from here is, oh, and then really quickly, if you guys ended up here, then you guys are good. We can just go in with our first row of single crochet and then our next row of alternative double crochets. But if you guys ended down here, that's totally fine. Just cut and tie and then reattach your yarn up here. But once we get here, what we're going to do is chain up one, and we're just going to be going into each of these single crochet loops that we have. Not real loops, they're side single crochet loops. So we're just going to have to find them and work our way down, just putting one single crochet into each. And if you guys just want to double check, make sure that we're not putting too many, we can count and see how many loops we have down here in our what is this, accent color row, and then making sure that we don't exceed that number up here. So go ahead and do your row of single crochet going all the way down, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can start up our alternative double crochet row right after that. We just made our way across with a row of single crochet on top of our bottom borders that we have. And like I said before, we're just going to go in with our alternative double crochet, and this is just going to be a really long solid block of alternative double crochet until we get to the point where we need to start decreasing for our armholes. But we'll meet each other back with the measurements in the next clip, and also just to show you guys what it looks like. But just as a really quick refresher, we'll just do one alternative double crochet together. But once when we get to the end, we're going to chain up 3, that counts as a double crochet, flip your work, prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook into that first loop that we have. We're going to yarn over, pull through, we're going to yarn over, pull through just 1. We should have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 on the hook, and that is our alternative double crochet. And go ahead and keep doing this all the way down, make it to the end, chain up 3, work your way back, you guys already know. And then oh, that's not one, but I'll meet you guys back once when we have gotten this entire chunk done. We're now all finished up with our very large chunk of alternative double crochets. As you can see, this is entirely it, and it goes all the way down to the base. But once we have that, what we're going to do is do decreases on both sides, so in the beginning and in the end, just like how we did the front panel where we did our decreases on each side. And we're just going to do this until we have the same amount of decreases on this front panel, and then we can connect everything and be all finished. So we're just going to decrease together just once. Working on our alternative double crochet decrease, what we're going to do is chain up 3, flip our work, and we're going to prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook into that first loop that we have, yarn over, pull through, insert our hook into that next loop that we have, yarn over, pull through. We should have 4 loops on the hook. Once we have that, we're going to yarn over and only pull through 2. We should have 3 loops. From there, we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3. And then from here, we're going to go down with our alternative double crochets until we get to the end, leaving the last 3 loops, and then into the first 2 loops, we're going to be doing a decrease, and then end off with just 1 alternative double crochet into that last loop. Chain up 3, do another decrease, and keep going back and forth like that until we have the desired length that we need, and then I'll meet you guys back. Alrighty, so just a few hours later, and this is what we should have. We have the entire back piece all finished up, and as you guys can see, we have our shoulder portion all done. And now I've already attached one side so that I can show you guys, but we are going to attach the front panels, and that's going to be pretty easy. All it's going to be is doing rows of single crochet across the shoulder, and then the same row of single crochet going around the, what is this, the side detail that we have right here, and then we can get to working on our sleeves. So let's go ahead and do the other side together. We have our other front panel right here, but right before we get started, we're going to need to make sure that our little accent color at the bottom is facing the same direction, because we want the pretty sides to all be on one side but our seam to be on the other. So how we do that, let me fold this up so that we can see what we're looking at. As you guys can probably tell, maybe not, but this is the pretty side, and then the way that I attached it, I made sure that the pretty side for the side panel was facing down, so the pretty sides are sandwiched on top of each other. And then if you guys take a look, this is the back side along with the seam and the other back side over here. So all we're going to do is take a look at our front panel, make sure that the pretty sides are touching each other, and that's all we have to make sure that we're doing for now. But once we have that, we're going to go in with our first row of single crochet into the shoulders. So starting off with the shoulders, what we're going to do is make sure that the two corners are aligned with each other. We're going to insert our hook into this first corner loop and then into this back corner loop. Insert our yarn onto our hook. We're going to pull through and chain up 1 to secure. And then once we have that, we're going to go into the first available loop that we have into the front panel, which is this loop right here, and then into the next available loop that we have in the back panel, which is this loop right here, and then single crochet them together. And let's do this one more time. So into the first available loop that we have in the front panel, and then the next available loop that we have in the back panel, and single crochet. And that's basically it. We're going to keep doing this until we make it all the way down to our, we'll just make it all the way down until we can't go anymore. And then when we make it down there, we're going to cut and tie, and then we can get started on the side portion. Our single crochet row going across the shoulder portion is all done. Now we can get started on the bottom half. And it's going to be pretty much the same thing, but at some point we will have to go into these side double crochets. So I will meet you guys back once we have to get there. But just to start this off, we're going to insert our hook in through this first available loop in the front panel corner, this first available loop in this back panel corner, insert our yarn, pull through, chain up 1 to secure, and then let's do just the first one together. We're going to find the first available loop in the front panel, then first available loop in the second panel. So we have that, single crochet, and keep doing this all the way down until we meet our first side double crochet portion, and then I'll meet you guys back so that we can do that together. We're now at our first side double crochet, and we're just going to do this together really quickly because I'm sure you guys already know how to do it. But into this first side double crochet, we're going to go in with 1 single crochet for now. You know how we always put 2 single crochets into each side double crochet. But into this back panel, we're going to go into this first side double crochet. We're going to go in with 1 single crochet, and then into that same loop in the front and the back, insert again with another single crochet. So we're still doing 2 single crochets into each side double crochet. Let's do the next one together really quickly. You can kind of separate the first loop in through the front panel and the back panel and then hold them together. That could be a little bit easier, but we're going to go in with 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then we are going to keep doing this all the way up until we get to where we started doing our decreases. But once we get there, we're not going to cut and tie because we're just going to continue doing the same thing but not cinching it together, but going all the way around for the armhole so that we can start our sleeve. So I'll meet you guys back once we get to our decrease. We made it all the way down to our first decrease row. As you guys can see, this is our first decrease right here. And what we're going to do, we're going to drop this back panel. We're not going to be hanging on to that. So we're just going to hold on to this front panel and into this first side double crochet, go in with 2 single crochet. And it's basically the same thing. We're just not sandwiching the 2 sides together. We'll go ahead and go all the way around past the shoulder portion, all the way around the back. And then once we get to the end, we're going to connect with a slip stitch and we'll go from there. We've single crocheted all the way around our armhole, and now we're back to where we did our, first portion where we split it up. But once we get here, we're going to insert our hook into this first loop that we have and pull through with a slip stitch, and now it's all connected and we don't need to cut and tie because we can just go straight into our sleeve from here. But right before we get started with our sleeve, you guys are going to want to measure out and see how long you guys want your sleeve to be from this bottom portion down to where you want it to go. And remember, we will have a cuff as well. So I already measured mine out, and I'm going to have a total of 16 inches or 41 centimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and make that chain, and then I'll meet you guys back. Now that we have our chain for our sleeve, what we're going to do is go in with another row of alternative double crochet. So what we're going to do from here is block off that last loop, do a chain up of 3. That is awfully distracting. Chain up of 3, prepare for a double crochet. We're going to go into that loop that we blocked off with our thumb, or the 4th loop from our hook. Insert your hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through, And then from here, we're going to yarn over, pull through just one. We should have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 3. Let's do one more alternative double crochet together, even though I'm sure you guys are sick of it. But we're going to prepare for a double crochet. Insert into that next loop, yarn over, pull through just one, yarn over, pull through all 3. And we will keep doing this all the way down, leaving that last loop so that we can do a increase into that last loop together, and then we'll continue on from there. We've made our way all the way down with our row of alternative double crochets, and we left 1 loop left for ourselves, and we're going to be doing an increase like I said, since we're moving up towards the shoulder piece. But once we get here, we're going to put 1 alternative double crochet into that last loop. So there is 1, and then we're going to be going in with just 1 more into that same loop. There is 2. So now there is 2 alternative double crochets into that same loop. And once we have that, we're going to take a look at what we're going to call the base, or our armhole. Then we're going to count up 2 loops from here. Here's 1, here's 2. Insert our hook into that second loop with a slip stitch. And now our first row of our sleeve is connected. And let's just work our way up to the next row, and then we will continue going on from there. So what we have to do to get up to the next row is the same thing that we did here. We're going to have to slip stitch up the next 2 loops. So there's 1. There's 2. We're going to flip our work and then go in with an increase of alternative double crochet into this first loop. So from here, we're going to prepare for a double crochet into this first loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1, pull through 3. There's our first one. Then into that same loop, we're going to go in with just 1 more. Just like that, increase into this first loop. And put 1 alternative double crochet into every loop, going back down our work. Once we make it to the end, chain up 3 and work our way back. And then once we get to this last loop, we're going to do another increase, and we're going to keep doing that all the way up until we get to this shoulder seam that we have. And then when we work our way back down the other side of the sleeve, we're going to be doing decreases. But I'll meet you guys back once we get our way up to this point. Okay, so we are all done doing one side of our sleeve, and we are about to go down the other side of our sleeve. But like I said in the previous clip, we will be going down with a decrease into the first 2 loops instead of an increase, and that's going to be pretty simple. You guys already know how to do this, but we'll start it off together. We're going to, as you guys can see, we're in our very last loop that we have that meets right at our, what is this, seam, shoulder seam. So we're going to still slip stitch up the next 2 loops. There's 1, there's 2. We're going to flip our work, and then once we flip it into the first 2 loops, we will be doing an alternative double crochet decrease. So prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook into that first loop, yarn over, pull through, insert our hook into the next loop, yarn over, pull through. From here, we're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on the hook, and from there we should have 3 loops. Once we have that, we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that is basically it. We're going to go all the way down with alternative double crochets, chain up 3, sorry I couldn't remember, chain up 3, flip our work, and then continue doing alternative double crochets all the way down, leaving the last 2 loops. We're going to decrease into the last 2 loops and then attach our hook into the base, which is counting up the next 2 available loops, inserting our hook into that second loop, and then that row is attached. And then to work our way up to the next row, we're going to slip stitch up the next 2 loops, decrease into the first 2 loops, and then continue going back down. And we're going to keep doing that all the way down until we don't have any more loops left to go into, and then we'll attach our sleeve together. We now have the other half of our sleeve all finished up, and what we're going to do from here is combine it, and we're just going to go all the way down with a row of single crochet until we don't have any more loops left to go into. We're going to cut and tie and then start working on the cuff. And this part is going to be exactly the same, whether if you guys end on the end like me, or if you guys end at the base, all the same. And the last tip is actually just make sure that all of your seams are facing the same direction. Make sure it didn't accidentally get flipped inside out or something like that. But once when everything is looking right, what we're going to do, since our hook is already into the side, we're going to take our hook and then insert it into this corner loop on what we're going to call the back panel, or the other half of our sleeve. There we go. I'm going to yarn over and pull through everything. And then once we have that, it's going to be the same way that we've done this part. We're just going to do the first few together. But into this first available loop that we have in the front panel, we're going to insert our hook. And then into this first available loop that we have in our back panel, insert your hook into there. And single crochet. And from here, go ahead and work your way all the way down, and then once you get to the end, cut and tie. And I will be switching out my colors again, so I'm going to grab my secondary color and then I'll meet you guys back. We just got finished up doing our entire sleeve, and the next thing we're going to do is go around the opening of our sleeve with a row of single crochet with our secondary color, if you guys are switching it out like me. And we're just going to start to cinch this in just a little bit so that we can get ready for the cuff portion. So that's going to be fairly simple. We're going to be working into all of these side double crochets, and we typically put 2 single crochets into each side double crochet, but for this part we're going to be putting 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet. So we're going to be alternating. So let's do the first few together. We're going to insert our hook into that first loop, pull this through, chain up 1 to secure, and I'm not going to count this as anything, so we're going to go into this first side double crochet that we're into with 2 single crochets. So there's 1 and there's 2. Once we have that, we're going to go into this next side double crochet with just 1 single crochet. Then into the next, we're going to put 1 and 2, and the one after that, just put 1. And keep doing this all the way around, connect with a slip stitch and cut, and then we're going to be going in with our base color again. We've now made our way all the way around with our secondary color while doing our, I guess we can call them decreases, into the end of the sleeve. And we're going to go back in with our base color, but only going into the previous single crochet row with another single crochet row on top of that, but no fancy stuff. So we're just going to do the first few together, insert our hook into any one of the loops. It does not matter which one. Insert our yarn, pull through, chain up 1 to secure. Once we have that, go ahead and just put 1 single crochet into every single crochet loop that we have. But once we get to the end, we are going to slip stitch, but do not cut and tie because we're going to go straight into our cuff from there. We made it all the way around with our base color of just regular single crochets going all the way around. And now what we're going to do next is our cuff, and it's going to be the same cuff that we do for pretty much everything else. But we're going to first want to figure out how long we want our cuff to be. And I already know that I want my cuff to be about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. So I'm just going to go in with a chain that comes out to that measurement. Now that I have my chain, we're going to go in with rows of slip stitches for this first row. So when we get here, we're going to block off that last chain that we just did, do a chain up of 1, insert our hook into that loop that we blocked off, or the second loop from a hook, with a slip stitch. That's our first one. Let's do the second one together a little bit more slowly. We're first going to insert our hook into that second loop. We're going to yarn over and pull through everything on the hook. So we're just going to yarn over, pull through everything, just like that. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down. We are going to slip stitch one more time to get into the base, and then we'll go from there. Our first row of slip stitches going all the way down our base is all finished up, and what we're going to do next is take a look at our base. We're going to see where, that is a very loud car. We're going to see the next available loop that we have, and it's this one right here because this one obviously has a chain into it. So into this next available loop, we're going to go in with another slip stitch. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull through everything. Then once we have that, we're going to slip stitch up the next loop to work our way up to the next row. Flip our work, and then we're going to go in with another row of slip stitches, but this time we're going to be going in through the back loops. So different kind of ridging. This cardigan's got a lot of ribbing. But how we do that is insert our hook into this first loop that we have, but making sure that we go in through the back loop only. So we typically would go in through both of these. We're just going to insert our hook in through this back loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through everything. Let's do one more into the next back loop, yarn over, pull through everything. We're going to keep doing this all the way down. Once we get to the end, chain up one, continue to do back loop slip stitches, working all the way back, going towards the base. Once you get to the base, slip stitch into the next available loop to close off that row, and to work your way up to the next row, slip stitch up just one more loop, and then keep going with back loop slip stitches. And then I'll meet you guys back once when we don't have any more loops to go into so that we can connect it together. We made it all the way around with our back loop slip stitches, and what we're going to do is just connect it to the other side, basically how we've connected it everywhere else. So what we're going to do is insert our hook into this corner loop since our hook is already into this side. Once we have that, we're going to yarn over, pull through everything, and then from here into the first front loop panel that we have, insert our hook into that first loop, into this back panel loop that we have, go in with a single crochet, and keep doing this all the way down. Once we make it to the end, go ahead and cut and tie, and then we are all done with our first sleeve. Go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. We are all done with both of our sleeves, and what we're going to do now is go in with doing our pockets. And this is going to be a little bit different than the way that we normally do pockets here on the channel. What we're going to first make sure is that our seam is facing outwards, because we're going to be working along these, it depends on how you hold it, but just along the loops that are closest to you. So there's going to be just a little ribbing on the front. But once when we know that this is along the outside, the seam, what we're going to do from here is just go in with rows of double crochet, and then we're going to go in and make the length, and then we're going to connect it to the bottom portion, and then we are going to seam up the sides with a row of single crochet, and then we will be all done with this portion of the pocket. So let me grab my yarn. It is somewhere over here. 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to make a slip knot, and then like I said, it all depends on how you're holding it. It's not necessarily a front or back loop thing. It's just whatever loop is closest to you when it lays flat. So as you guys can see, I'm just going to show you guys really quickly. These are the 2 loops that we typically go into. We're just going to insert our hook. Well, this is actually our first loop. We're going to insert our hook into this first loop that we have, and make sure that we're going in through the top first, because the seam is going to have a bottom, and we're doing it that way because if the seam is on the bottom, then it has a better chance of laying flat against you. But once when we have that, we are going to insert our hook in through the closest loop to you, through the front portion, or I'm sorry, the top portion of our pocket. Once when we have that, we're going to insert our yarn onto our hook, and pull the right side, pull through, and then we're going to chain up 3, because this counts as a double crochet. And for the pocket, since no one's going to see it, this is just going to be regular double crochets. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet, and then into this next, I guess the way I'm holding it is the back loop. Into the next back loop, we're going to go in with 1 double crochet. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down until we don't have any more loops anymore. So basically all the way down our pocket slit that we left for ourselves. And we're going to chain up 3, flip our work, and then do more regular rows of double crochets. And then the length of the pocket all depends on you guys. I want this to be able to fit my phone, so I'm going to make a full length of 12.5 inches or 32 centimeters, because we're going to be making the full thing, and it's going to fold over and then connect to this bottom. Let me show you guys this one really quickly. Hopefully this makes more sense. So we started up here, and then we went in with our rows of double crochet. And then we didn't do anything fancy, we just kept going all the way around with more double crochet, and then we connected it to the bottom. So go ahead and make whatever length you guys need. But hold on, before I say what I'm going to say, we need to make sure that the pocket length that we're going to do, it doesn't exceed the bottom, because obviously this is really close to the bottom of the cardigan. And all you're going to want to do is, as you guys keep making the pocket length, just keep folding it in half and make sure that it doesn't exceed the bottom. As you guys can see, mine is pretty close but not quite there, so go ahead and keep that in mind as well as you're making your pocket. But now I will let you guys go forth with your rows of double crochet for the pocket, and then I'll meet you guys back. We now have our very long pocket chunk, and now we are ready to attach it onto the bottom half of our pocket slit that we have. This is going to start off the same way that we did our first part where we connected our pocket. We're basically just going to be sandwiching our chunk that we just made to the loop that we have in this row of alternative double crochet. We're just going to be going into the loop that's closest to us. So pretty much the same thing. What we're going to do is first insert our hook into this first available loop, into the loop that's closest to us. From here we're going to yarn over, pull through everything. And then from there, we're going to go in with a row of single crochet. So into the next available loop, and then into the next available loop that we have that is closest to us, and then single crochet. And that's basically it. We're going to keep going down all the way, but we're not going to cut and tie, because from here we can go straight into doing the side pockets that we're going to do, just so that we can close it up. This is what we should have once when we have connected the bottom portion of our pocket chunk that we have. And next we're going to go down each side with just a regular row of single crochet, making sure that everything is closed up so that our pocket can turn into actual pockets. But before we do that, the way that we're going to attach it is actually take our pocket and then we're going to lay it down so that it's laying down the way that it would naturally lay if you were wearing it. So we're going to lay it down this way, making sure that the pocket is headed towards the bottom of the cardigan. And then once we have that, this part is going to be a little tricky, but into this first section, as you guys can see, this is the top half of the cardigan. We're not going to be going into this first row of double crochets that we have. We're actually going to be going into the second row of double crochets that we have on this top part, and then into the first row of double crochets that we have on the second part. And we're doing this so that our pocket can lay flat against us. So if you guys can kind of see, this is our first row of double crochet. We're not going to be going into there. We're going to be going into this loop right here. So we're going to leave this one. Since our hook is here, we're just going to insert our hook into that second row of side double crochets. We're going to yarn over and pull through. And then once we have that, we're going to be attaching it the same way that we've been attaching everything else. We're just going to be putting 2 single crochet into each of these side double crochets, making sure they go in through the front panel and the back panel at the same time. So let's do just the first one together. Into this first available loop, we're going to go into that first side and then into the next double crochet row in the back panel. We're going to be putting 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet. And now this chunk is all closed up. We're going to continue to do this all the way down until we reach the bottom, so we can't go anymore. We're going to cut and tie and then do the same thing that we did here on the other side. And then we have just a little pocket front detail to do right after that. We're now all finished up with doing our pocket. We went ahead and did single crochets on both sides and it has turned into a real pocket now. So what we're going to do is just do our little detail that we're going to have in the front of our pocket, and it's going to be super subtle. So I switched out to my secondary color. Since we went in with the loop that was closest to us, we should have a little bit of ridging along the bottom, and from here we're just going to go into that first loop that we have of our ridging, and we are going to go in with just a really simple row of single crochet going all the way across with our secondary color. So go ahead and keep doing this all the way down until you don't have any more loops, and cut and tie. This is what our pocket should look like once when we have gone in with our row of single crochet with our secondary color. And right after this, you guys can go ahead and do the pocket on the other side. Mine is already done, so we will do just the last bit of detail that we have on this cardigan, which is just going in with some rows of single crochet and back loop single crochets just along the ridging that we have with our secondary color. And that's going to be pretty self-explanatory, so we'll just start it together. But once when you have grabbed your secondary color, all we're going to do is insert our hook into this corner, insert our secondary color onto our hook, if I can. There we go. We're going to pull through, chain up 1 to secure, and then work all the way down to the row of single crochet. And that's basically it. Once when you guys make it to the end, we're going to chain up 1 and then do back loop single crochets for a couple more rows just to get a little extra ribbing. But I'll meet you guys back once we are done with this row so that we can do it together. We've made our way down with our first row of single crochet along the entirety of the border of the cardigan, and we're just going to do a couple rows of back loop single crochets and then we'll be all done. So I'm just going to do the first couple back loop single crochets with you guys just to show you guys one more time, and then we'll have at it from there. But once when you made it all the way down, what we're going to do from here is chain up 1. We're going to flip our entire work over, and then into this first available loop that we have, we're going to be going into this back loop right here. Insert our hook, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our first back loop single crochet. Let's do this one more time. Insert your hook into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and this is going to be all up to you of how thick you want this part to be. I'm just going to go in with a couple rows and then I'll meet you guys back, but once when I'm done with this, I will cut and tie. We're now all finished up with our row of back loop single crochets around the entirety of our border, and that's pretty much it. The last thing that we have to do is just weave in all of our ends. Now that we've woven in our ends, this is our super cozy cardigan all finished up. Y'all have been requesting for more cardigans, so here's a great one, and it's perfect for any occasion or style. And did I mention that it has pockets? And if you guys love pockets just as much as I do, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It's right beneath the video. Lets YouTube and I know you're enjoying the videos, and it goes a really long way with helping the channel grow and gain traction. But if you didn't like it, give this video a thumbs down, but be sure to leave me a comment letting me know why you didn't like it, or if you have questions, requests, or if y'all just want to say hi. I usually reply pretty quick. If you love it, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It's right beneath the video. It'll let you know when there's a new video uploaded to the channel, get you a bit more priority when it comes to requests, and it goes a really long way with helping the channel grow so we can keep making all these great videos for you guys. If you're already subscribed, huge thanks to you guys, but please hit that notification bell to know when there's a new video uploaded for you guys right away. And please share with your crafty friends. Every bit helps. Links to the yarn and the hooks will be in the description, and if you buy something using those links, that also goes towards helping out the channel. Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest links are down there as well, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.